Hi guys, you're welcome to my channel. So today we are making this stylish A-line gown with an ashoke collar, and you see how the sleeves look like a bell sleeve, right? So that's what we are making today. It's very easy and it's not time consuming, and I'm going to try my best to explain it the way you'll be able to understand. So for measurement, you'll be needing your full length, your shoulder measurement, your bust measurement, and your waist measurement, and we are good to go. So hi guys, my name is Fatima A. Yusuf, and on this platform I share sewing tutorials. If this is something you like to learn, let's get to it. So firstly, I have this my Ankara fabric. It is 6 yards. It's a low range type. Then I have my ashoke that I'll be using. I have 3 pieces here. Then I have my chalk as usual. Then after my chalk, I got my ruler here. And then I have my scissors and also a matching thread to go with it. Right, so after that you'll be needing your tape also because you need it. So now let's get to it. So firstly, you measure your full length. You add your additional allowance, on the width of the Ankara fabric, because Ankara fabric doesn't have length. So you do that twice. You can see the down is open while the upper part is closed. I'll be leaving the upper part closed, but in case you want it slitted, you can do that. So I'll be leaving it closed. So I'm going to give it another fold again, and I'll give it a good iron press, and this is it after giving a good iron press. So before we start, you can also use this to make an abaya. You can get a soft crepe, or if you're lucky, you can get an abaya fabric, and you can also do this cutting on a plain fabric, on a vintage fabric, to give it the kind of abaya vibes. You understand? So now let's get drafting. So now, like I said, the upper part is closed. I'm going to input my neckline 3 inches for the width. Then for the depth, I was thinking I can use 1.5 inches. So I used 1.5 inches because you don't want it to be too deep. It shouldn't be deep. So I formed my round neckline, right? So now that's for back. Then for front, I went down 6 inches. You guys know me, for my V neckline, I don't really like it to be too deep. So you can use any depth you want for your front. That is going to be a V neckline. So I'm going to stop there around that part. Then now, I'm going to impute my shoulder, divide by 2. Measure your shoulder. Anything you have, divide it by 2. And you mark it here. Then from that, my shoulder, I'm going to take it down. And I'm going to measure 9 inches. That 9 inches will serve as my bust line. Then I'll go down to 16 inches. It's going to serve as my waistline. Yours might be different. Please take note of that. So I'm going to extend those points with my ruler. If you have a longer ruler, please get it. Don't use a small one like me. So I'll just go ahead and extend those lines, right? Then on that my bust line, that 9 inches, I'm going to also impute my shoulder divided by 2, so that I can use a straight line to meet the 2 points, the 2 shoulder measurements, right? So I'll just take my ruler here, and I'm going to join it with a straight line, right? So after doing that, you can actually mark your shoulder slope if you want the shoulder slitted. But like I told you guys, I wanted it closed. But you can mark your 0.5 inch or your 1 inch, and then you form your shoulder slope. But I'm not doing that in this case, right? So next thing is just to draw my armhole curve. So I'll find the middle point like you normally do for your front armhole curve. I'm going to find the middle point, and inward I'm going to mark 0.5 inch, and I'm going to come back to that. So after doing this, I'm going to divide my bust measurement by 4. Measure your bust divided by 4. I had 9.5 for mine. Yours might not be 9.5 inches. So I mark that, and then I use that to form my armhole curve using my free hand. If you have a French curve, please make do with it. Right? So that's what I did here. So we are done with the armhole part. So now let's continue. Since I already imputed my bust measurement, the next thing is just to add allowance. So I added 3 inches allowance, right? But when I'm making this next time, I'm going to be adding 4 inches, right? So please, when you're making yours, I'm going to suggest you add 4 inches to your body measurement to make it free. So I added 3 initially, then I deducted to 2.5. You see my life. But next time, please, I'm going to make use of 4. So in case you like it to be wide, and I feel like if it's wider, it's going to be finer than my own self. So you use 4 inches. So now for the waistline, I also divided my waist divide by 4. I mark what I got. I got 7.5 inches, but your own waist measurements might not be 7.5 inches. Then I added 2.5 inch. Like I said, next time I'm making this, I'm adding 4 inches to the waist and the bust. But in case you don't want that, you make do of what you feel like is okay for you. So I joined the 2.5 inches together with a slant line. Then from that, my waistline, the waist measurements that is on that waistline. I'm just going to use my ruler to take it down in a slanty way, using a slant line. If you have a longer ruler, please use a longer ruler. But me, I'm using my tape because I don't have a longer ruler yet. So after I was done, this is what you're going to get. You can as well just mark a cut together pocket around this part if you want, but I forgot. So when I was done cutting, I remembered I can actually do that. So I'll just cut off this part, and that's it. So I cut out the round neckline. Like I said, there's no shoulder slope, but if you want for yours, you can do it. So I cut the back armhole first, and I'm going to lift it up, and then I'm going to cut the front armhole because the curves are different. The front one is deeper than the back one. Then I'm going to just cut the sides, and when I get to the down part, I'm going to measure 2 inches upward. So this is just me cutting the sides first. Let's cut, and I was done here, right? So I measured 2 inches upward at the side, and I'm going to form a curve, and I'm just going to cut it off because it's an A-line gown. You do this mostly for A-line gowns. But if you want it like that without the curve, you can as well sew it like that, right? So I cut that off, and guys, this is what we have. We're about done, not yet done for the cutting, drafting and cutting. So this is how it looks like. Yes. So now after doing this, I'm going to open it up in such a way that the pieces, the left and right of each piece will meet. That means the pieces of the back will meet, the pieces of the front will meet like this. And then you'll be having a C in the middle. That's for the neckline. It will form a C. So you just make sure everything is equal. So that's what I was trying to figure out here. So now when I was sure everything is equal, this is what we are going to do. I've already marked my depth for my front neckline, right? I marked 6 inches. So outward, I'm going to mark 2 inches. And that my 6 inches. Join it with a straight line, all right? How did I know the width I want to use? So when you fold your ashoke into 2, it's going to give you 3 inches after folding. So that's why I'm using 2 inches, right? You can as well go ahead to use 2.5, but I feel like 2 inches is okay. So that was why I marked 2 inches. It depends on what you want, though, but you should use 2 or 2.5 inches. So I did that, and then I'm just going to join it with a slant line so I can form a V, more of like not completely V, but use a slant line to meet the wideness of your neck at the upper part. So I'll now take that 2 inches downward with it straight downward like this. As you can see, this is it here. So that was how I drafted the middle part, the neckline for the middle part. So I'll just go ahead and cut that off. So you carefully watch how I cut it off. So where that was 6 inches actually stop, you can make it straight instead of it might be a little bit curvy. It might be pointing out around where your neckline depth is stopping. So you can just trim it to be straight altogether. So I went ahead to just straight cut it off. Right. So you're replacing that pieces that I cut off with your ashoke later on. So this is how it looks like. You can actually use this for a kimono also. It won't be bad. So now I'm going to measure the middle part, the middle point like this to know what I have, the measurement I'm going to get. So you measure from one side upward to the middle, then you come downward to the end. So that's what you do. So now what I had, I'm going to cut it out on my ashoke. And I'm going to be adding few allowance because, it's better for it to be too long than for it to be too short. So initially, I wanted buying 2 pieces of ashoke when I went to the shop. But later on, I said that it's better for it to be too much than for it to be too small, So I added 1 more piece. So the lady had already cut it, so there's no way she can join it together. So the 2 pieces were not enough. Thank God I actually added 1 more. So I had to join it. So in case you're buying yours, I'll advise you buy 3 pieces joined together so that you won't need to add addition, you understand? So I stitch it together and I cut out the length I wanted, and like I said, add additional allowance about 2 inches or 3 to be on a safer side. So I'm going to fold it in this way, right? I'm going to fold it so everything is equal, and I'm going to fold it again using the length. I think, we'll call it length in this case. So you fold, after you fold like this, then you fold it in this manner. Just watch how I'm going to fold. So I'm folding it using the length or you can call it the width, let's call it the length. So you just fold it and take it over and use your iron, give it a good iron press. That's what I'm going to do. So the ironing will help you to know the middle point. So I've done that here, and then I'm going to open it up. All right, so that's, you iron so that you know the middle point. That's why. And some people normally add paper stay, right? But I'm not doing that. So I'm going to bring my piece, right? I'm going to measure how deep I want my neckline to be. Initially I marked 6, so I decided to use 7, right? So that I can enter my head freely and it will still be too deep. So I marked 7 on both sides, and then I measure what I had. I got 24, and I divided it by 2, right? So after dividing, I have 12. So now from here, that is close, the middle point, you are going to measure downward 12. But me, I felt like 12 would be too tight for me. Leave me alone. So I went ahead and marked more than 12, right? So I marked 12 first, then I was like, no, 12 will be too much. So I now use 15, then later I think I use 16, then I use 14 later onwards. After measuring, you stitch from that, you start your measurement, you're stitching from that 12 or 13, take it down to the end of the ashoke. If you want slits in the middle, you stop at where you want your slit to start. So I did that, right? But I felt like the neckline was too much. At the end, I used 14 inches, but at the end also, I had to top stitch to 12. So anything you get when you measure your neck, just divide by 2 and you mark it. And you can add 1 more inch in case you feel like it's going to be tight, you understand? But it's better for it not to be too deep. It depends on your choice, although. So I gave it a good iron press, and guys, this is the end of part 1. I'm going to post part 2 where we stitch everything up. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, drop your comment, and I'm going to see you guys in part 2.